gonna use it to pound the nail, or you gonna throw it at him?
I'll start with pounding. I'll finish by throwing.
You know Bert Olson?
I know him, yeah. I've met him a couple times. I don't know him well.
I argued a case in the appellate court, and Judge Stamos' wife got arrested, passed away a few years ago, a year or two ago, was the chief judge of the appellate division. It was an election contest case out of Marine Valley. And he argued before Stamos. We were before the three-judge appellate panel, and Stamos, after listening to Bert, picked up his gavel and said, I just wish that this gavel had a handle long enough that I could hit you right over the head.
Everybody's here? Okay, great. So, where's right back? Let's get this going. So we've got a couple of people on the economic development advisory board that I was going to appoint. Decided today they didn't want to do it. So Janet Olson and Marty Darby. So we're going to be like 3 spots short, I think. But that's okay. We can fill those 3 spots at the next meeting.
Another time, yeah. You're doing one at a time. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion. You want to discuss about continuing it until the next
Sure. Once we get into the discussion phase, yeah. Next year only. We don't have, I'm not going to talk about it tonight. We can talk about it tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know. You want to do that?
Your phone's dead. Oh.
Call the meeting to order.
Trustee
Call
Fenn?
roll.
Trustee Dodge? Here. Trustee Guerra? Trustee Ruzick?
Here.
Trustee Calandrella? Here. Trustee Carroll? Here. Mayor Pica?
Here.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of July 3rd, 2017 regular meeting minutes.
Does anyone have anything to add to the minutes or changes?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I move to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of July 3rd, 2017.
Second. Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Abstain.
Trustee Ruzick?
I think it was actually July 5th meeting that we're approving.
Oh, that's right.
July 5th.
July 5th.
That is correct.
Okay.
So amend them to say July 5th.
Yeah, amend the motion to reflect July 5th.
Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Abstain.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Mayor Pica?
Aye. approval of the July 10th, 2017 special meeting minutes. Are there any changes?
Mr. Do you have any?
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman? I move
Trustee-
to approve the minutes
Trustee
of the
Riddick?
Board of Trustees special meeting of July 10, 2017.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
Excuse me, I do have changes. I think we missed a lot of public commentary in these minutes, so what I would ask is that we revisit them and then approve them at the next meeting.
Okay.
Entertain a motion?
You want a motion to table this, or how do you want to do this?
Are you moving to amend the minutes?
Or just continue it to the next meeting?
Continue to the next meeting and just revisit, there's a lot missing.
Postpone for the next meeting.
Correct.
I would make a motion to postpone the consideration of the minutes of the July 10, 2017 special meeting minutes until the next meeting.
The motion to postpone to the next meeting, the meeting minutes is up for discussion. If there's no comments, call the roll.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Illinois Distracted Driving Award presentation.
Mr. Mayor, Trustee Calandrello, if you would step down, please. With us here today is Charlene Sliding from the Traffic Safety Committee of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. From April 24th to 28th was Distracted Driving Week in Illinois. And the Orland Park Police Department put on a program for almost a month of education and awareness, working with the media and working with all the other different types of newspapers and others. As a result of that, we wrote almost 300 tickets in 1 week in April for distracted driving. Distracted driving, I believe, is the #1 cause of death for teenagers. And so we wrote almost 300 tickets during that 1 week period of time for distracted driving, using your cell phone, texting, and other things with the cell phone. As part of it, Lieutenant Thomas Hottinger is here, who is runs our traffic safety unit, along with some of the officers who wrote the most tickets. So you might want to remember their faces. That 1 week period of time, Brandon Eppolito. Step up, Brandon. Brandon. Just so I see you. And Mark Penn. So I want to congratulate Tom and for a great job during that week in April. We continue to write them all the time and try to keep things a little bit safer. With that, Charlene has a presentation made to the mayor and to Chairman Calandrello.
We are here this evening to, I thought it was loud enough, sorry. Good evening, everybody. My name is Charlene Sliding. I am with AAA, and I'm also here on behalf of the Illinois Chiefs of Police Traffic Safety Committee. As Chief McCarthy has recently said, there was an initiative here in Illinois, the first time ever, and this was the inaugural year. And collectively throughout the entire state, there were more than 300 police agencies that participated. Orland Park was in the top 10. This is one of my favorite police departments because they do work so hard and diligently for the safety of the residents here in Orland Park. They issued, as the chief said, almost 300 tickets and 70 warnings. Now, some of you might not think that traffic safety is a huge priority when there's so many other things going around in the world, but it really is. This is how we keep criminal activity down in our neighborhoods, and this initiative is one thing to help create awareness and community policing, which was very important. I'm just here to say thank you and acknowledge them. Since I have the podium, I would like to give them a round of applause for being police officers. Please do so. Would you like to say anything, Lieutenant? Okay. Okay, so with that, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to present this award on behalf of AAA, like I said, and the Illinois Chiefs of Police Association. We'd like to recognize you guys for your exemplary efforts to help keep the roadways safe.
Thank you very much. These officers represent the best of all of the Orland Park police officers, and I think that our police force is one of the best, if not the best, police force in Illinois. We truly understand the meaning of protect and serve, and all 4 of these officers have done an outstanding job, so I really appreciate it. And Trustee Calandrello, if you have anything to add?
I think that you guys want to hear me, but we know they've got the best police department in the state, and at the state here, I've seen these guys work hard, very hard to protect our community. So I've seen them firsthand in the courtroom after doing 12 hours, midnight shifts, coming to make sure to put the bad guys away. So I can talk for hours, but no one needs to be an hour meeting. So I appreciate their support. I see some family members, but also police department personnel. It's a family affair in Orland Park Police, so that's great.
Well, it's a real family affair. This is Christina Fitzgibbon, who is Bill's wife. Their little one.
Everybody's moving together. Keith, can you hold the flag?
Sure.
Economic Development Commission appointment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick?
I move to confirm the appointment by President Peacock of Jack Smith, Glenn Horton, Marty Darvin, James Arendano, and Michael Makita to the Economic Development Commission.
Second.
And for everyone's awareness, Marty Darvin called me this afternoon and said he's going to have to decline. He has time commitments. He's not going to be able to participate. So if someone would like to amend the motion.
So, amend to remove Marty Darvin from the list of appointees.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Peacock?
Aye.
Veterans Commission appointment.
Chairman?
Trustee Dodge?
Move to advise and consent to the appointment of President Peacock of Adam Wojcik and Robert was Sosnarek. Did I get that right? Hopefully. To the Veterans Commission.
Second.
Are there any comments, questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye. Aye. I sneezed.
Bless you. Trustee Calandrello?
I apologize for sneezing through your name.
He said aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Peacock?
Aye.
Consent agenda.
At this time, should we swear them in?
Yeah, we good. If they're here, yeah.
Okay. We'll start with,
Actually, you can swear them on if you want.
swear all the economic development folks. Do we have the,
I don't have it, no. It's generally your office that does it.
You want to swear in veterans or economic development?
do we have the,
Oath?
the oath?
No, we don't provide oath. So that would come from the mayor's office.
Can we get that while we're conducting the meeting and then swear them in now, since they're here?
We can try and I could try and find the oath.
Yeah, let's do
find
that.
an oath.
Okay,
So,
let's do that.
Are you moving on to consent agenda?
Yeah, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Consent agenda?
Consent agenda. Item A is June 30th, 2017 payroll approval. Item B, accounts payable July 4th to July 17th approval.
Item C, MWRD grant authorizing application for a green infrastructure grant for the Nature Center resolution. Item D, Orland Park Nature Center, final landscape plan approval. Item E, 7402 West 159th Street, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, plat of subdivision for Freddy's, and 7420 West 159th Street, planned unit development. Item F, 7420 West 159th Street, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, final landscape plan approval. Item G, 7420 West 159th Street, Lots 7 and 8, final landscape plan approval. Item H, 7420 West 159th Street, planned unit development, Outlot A, stormwater basin, final landscape plan approval. Item I, Gateway Plaza, 14301 LaGrange Road, final landscape plan approval. Item J, MWRD grant authorizing application for a green infrastructure grant for a green roof at Village Hall resolution. Are there any changes to the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
move to approve items A through J in the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 So the consent agenda is passed 5-0.
Public hearing?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
I move to adjourn. I move to open a public hearing on the annexation agreement for the property located at 15800 LaGrange Road, part of the 15610 LaGrange Road, LaGrange Retail Development, PUD.
Second.
All in favor of opening the hearing?
Aye.
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 Need a roll call? Roll call, yes.
Need a roll call?
Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
The matter before the village board this evening is a public hearing on a proposed annexation and development agreement of property at 15610 LaGrange Road. It's proposed as a planned unit development. Most people would recognize this parcel as the former Army maintenance facility on the west side of LaGrange Road. The hearing on this annexation agreement was originally published and scheduled for the meeting of July 3rd and was continued to this meeting for continuation of the public hearing. It is proposed to be developed under the COR mixed-use zoning district classification. It's a special use for a 6-lot commercial planned unit development on the 2 existing parcels. The total size of the site is 14 acres. It is a split parcel in that 9.2 acres of the property is to be annexed to the village. The remaining 4.8 acres, which was formerly owned by the United States Army, has already been annexed to the village many, many years ago. So the annexation agreement covers the 9.2 acre parcel. It is proposed, as I said, as a special use for a 6-lot commercial planned unit development on these 2 existing parcels with modifications to reduce the wetland setback and to meet certain site detention requirements off-site in the regional detention facility along Ravinia Avenue. A draft of this annexation agreement has been prepared and on file with the village clerk's office for public inspection, and notice of the hearing has been published in the Orland Park Prairie as required by law.
Is there any public comment?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
I move to adjourn the public hearing on the annexation agreement for the property located at 15800 LaGrange Road, part of the 15610 LaGrange Road, LaGrange Retail Development, PUD.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye. I would like to add something before we move into the rest of this, the meeting regarding these other items.
You have to close the public hearing.
Oh, okay, sorry. Motion to close the,
Do you want a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
we did, we just
Yeah,
did, we just
all right,
closed
we're
it.
good.
You adjourned
That was it, to
close
adjourn it, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Motion was.
We have to close it also?
Adjourn is the same thing. So I would like to make some comments just before we start this this portion of the meeting. A lot of people have been speaking at our meetings, and I encourage that for one, and I appreciate all the involvement of everyone in the room. A lot of the people that have been speaking are also new to the process, so a couple of things to be aware of if you do want to speak going forward here tonight about anything is you need to identify yourself and also your address. You can do so with the forms that are back there and fill them out and bring them up, either beforehand or even now, that would be fine. I definitely encourage public comment on any of these items that you feel are important. One thing I would ask, particularly from the last meeting, is when addressing the board, we should always be respectful, just like the board members should be of you. And also, please, no shouting from the back of the room. If you want to speak, please fill out a form or come up to the mic and speak, and I will certainly allow you to do so. But don't yell out from the back of the room. That just makes for a better meeting. So, and again, I realize that's because a lot of people are new to the process, and that'll just make for more efficient meetings and, quite frankly, a better outcome for yourself if you come up and talk to us professionally.
Tyler Technologies.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
thank you. I move to approve the payment of $65,431.50 to Tyler Technologies, Inc. of Troy, Michigan, for the village share of the annual maintenance fee for the Tyler Technologies, Inc. CAD software.
Second.
Are there any comments or questions? So the question is put as moved. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Virtualization of Harris Enterprise ERP production systems.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Dodge.
Let me make sure I get the full motion here. Tyler or Harris?
Harris.
You know what? I'm sorry. Just move to approve the purchase of Harris ERP Enterprise Services at an amount not to exceed $7,400 per the statement of work quote.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, just a quick comment for the board. It's although it called out virtualization, this is a step in the right direction for all the stuff we're trying to do in terms of system reliability, scalability, and the integration that Frank and staff have been working on. So this is a long title, great idea, which is let's start getting out of the hardware business and just worry about outcomes of software. So,
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge.
aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
RZA Porsche Class 7C.
Resolution number, please.
1720.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
I move to pass resolution number 1720 entitled A Resolution Determining the Necessity of and Benefit for Commercial Uses and Supporting Granting of Class 7C status pursuant to the Cook County Real Estate Classification Ordinance for certain real estate property located at 8760 159th Street, Orland Township in Orland Park, Illinois.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
Just, do we want to maybe explain, this is a lot of government speak, do we want to explain what we're
Sure.
voting on?
Carrie, do you mind explaining a little bit? Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, Carrie's getting the microphone
I got
ready.
it.
Basically, this is some assistance for a local business from how crazy Cook County taxes are. So we do this a lot to try and continue to incent businesses to stay in Orland because Cook County taxes pretty heavily, so.
This is hello, can you hear me? All right. This is basically, as Trustee Dodge indicated, it is an incentive program that's actually offered through Cook County. However, the local municipality that the business is located is required to approve a resolution. This resolution will basically be taken in conjunction with the applicant's application to Cook County, and the Cook County then board will actually adopt the incentive and authorize it. So we are basically a recommending body to the Cook County incentive. This particular incentive is available to businesses located in Cook County. It's a limited incentive. It's available for 5 years and results in a reduction in assessment to the property taxes.
Mr. Mayor, I know the attorney for the petitioner is here. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions, but if needed, he's more than happy to answer. Well, he's here to answer questions if needed.
Does anybody have any questions? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Cars and More special use permit.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calandrello.
I move to approve a special use permit for cars, is that cars? And more to be located at Motor Vehicle Service Facility at 15642 South 70th Court, as recommended at the July 11, 2017 Planning Commission meeting, and is further referenced below.
Second.
Are there any questions? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Budget adjustments, third quarter 2017.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
I move to approve increasing the fiscal year 2017 expenditure budget by $420,000, $181.76.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, just as this relates to the holiday decor that we approved at our last meeting, correct?
Yep.
Any other comments? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Convert line of credit balances to term loans.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Ruzick.
could I have an ordinance number?
5202.
I move to pass ordinance number 5202, entitled "An Ordinance Providing for the Amendment of the Outstanding Revolving Tax Exempt General Obligation Line of Credit Agreement and Note of the Village of Orland Park, Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, to pay the cost of necessary capital expenditures for road construction projects and open space land purchase and improvement projects, and the issuance of a not to exceed $5,329,000 promissory note and related term loan agreement to pay the outstanding balance of said line of credit agreement and note. The amendment of the outstanding non-revolving tax-exempt general obligation line of credit agreement and note of said village to pay the costs of the necessary capital expenditures for stormwater management projects, and the issuance of a not to exceed $3,420,000 promissory note and related term loan agreement to pay the outstanding balance of said line of credit agreement and note, providing for the execution of the amendments and agreements related thereto, and providing for the security for the village obligations under such agreements and payment of said notes.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
Ann, could I ask Ann to just give us a description of what this involves?
Sure.
Okay.
Because that was a very long.
So back in 2015, when we in 2015 when we approved the budget, we approved issuing two $10 million line of credits to fund various capital projects. One of the line of credits was issued to fund road improvement projects. If you remember, that's the year where we funded about $8.5 million in neighborhood road improvements. The other $10 million was issued to fund stormwater improvements. As the projects went on, we drew on the lines of credit. They had 2-year terms. That term is going to mature on August 12th. We drew on them as the invoices came in related to these projects. At this time, I'm recommending that we, because the notes were going to mature, or the lines of credit were going to mature, we're going to roll what we drew into a term loan so that we can begin making principal and interest payments, and then reduce the overall lines of credit down from the $10 million down to a lesser amount. What that does is it reduces the overall amount of village debt that's outstanding, which is good for our bond rating. It's reflected in our audit that we'll have less debt outstanding. One of the other purposes of today, back in June, the board authorized utilizing line of credit proceeds as opposed to going out to the bond market and issue bonds to fund the nature center improvements related to open lands. So because when the ordinance was originally passed, the two uses were road construction and stormwater management projects, we need to amend the ordinance to include an additional use. So the board's already approved that part of it, but we need to amend the ordinance. So that's what this ordinance does today. It reduces the overall line of credits that are outstanding. It converts the drawn portion into term loans that we'll start repaying, and then it modifies the use of the lines of credit.
And Anne Marie, I have a question on page 15, which 2.14, section B.
Is this in the amendment?
It says for the,
In the amendment to the agreement?
in the form of term loan agreements. So it's page 19 of the PDF, page 15 of the actual document.
Okay, hold on, my iPad's going
There's a
really
bank,
slow.
there's a bank make whole amount, which essentially, means that they're covering their end of it, which could be expensive for us. So if you could just explain what's happening here and why this is in here and what exactly that means.
Yeah, so
for this
that
loan.
is if we chose to pay off the term loan in full early, there's two different rates of interest that are very complicated that are written in here that they would calculate the difference between, and we would have to pay that additional payment amount to them as kind of like a penalty for prepayment, because they've locked up those funds for a certain amount of years. All of a sudden those funds became available. So that it would just be if we determined that we would pay the term loan off early. Most likely we won't. They're very short-term term loans. We most likely wouldn't want to incur the additional debt service within a given year. But if for some reason we did, that term would probably kick in.
And is that something we can negotiate out of these deals going forward, or?
I probably still could, or I could try to. Usually their notes are, and I kind of looked at these when we first issued these lines of credit back in 2015. Usually they're pretty static and not subject to change, but it's absolutely something I can go back to them and request.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I had a couple of comments. So the initial $5 million that we've expended or that we've drawn on was for road work, correct?
Neighborhood road resurfacing, yes.
Okay. And we had taken out 10 because we thought we may be able to do more than the 5, and we ended up cash funding
Exactly.
since that time.
Yep.
Okay. And the remaining amount for the stormwater projects, we've rolled those over for a couple of years?
Yeah, we have a pretty significant amount of budget out there for stormwater projects that we've been rolling from year to year. So because when we originally budgeted for those, we budgeted that revenue source in order to keep our revenues and expenditures constant, because that goes into our water rates, we need to roll over and keep that line of credit so that if we do those projects, we have cash to fund them.
And last, the idea of using the line of credit as opposed to the going out to the bond market is going to save us money, correct?
Yes, there's a lot of issuance costs related to going out to the market and issuing bonds. We usually get ratings for each of them. We have our bond counsel costs. We have our financial advisory costs. So this saves us all of those costs. In addition, the rate that we're getting on the term loan is probably about 20 basis points lower than what we would get in the bond market right now.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye. And now we'll administer the oaths for the various commissions. So if we want to start off with Rob for the Veterans Commission.
Orland Park, in the county of Cook and Will, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner according to the best of my ability. Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
Just for now.
Adam's not here tonight, so you're going to swear him in next
Right.
week.
Congratulations. Thank you for serving.
I don't know. Ask the lawyer. Do I need to be sworn back in, Ken?
If he's here, he can be sworn.
Okay.
Different position.
So the Economic Development Advisory Board, I,
station in.
I,
James Dodge.
appointed to the position of Commissioner
Have been appointed to the position of Commissioner
for the Village of Orland Park, County of Cook and Will,
for the Village of Orland Park, County of Cook and Will.
do solemnly swear
Solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
No hat?
Mayor, no hat for?
Yeah, no.
No,
I need the hat.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that Tom can figure out a
Yeah.
match for it.
I, Chris Gary,
Having been appointed to the position of Commissioner
having been appointed to the position of Commissioner
for the Village of Orland Park,
for the Village of Orland Park,
County of Cook and Will,
the County of Cook and Will,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
of Commissioner according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. I state your name.
I, Michael Dickich,
Having been appointed to the position of Commissioner
having been appointed to the position of Commissioner
for the Village of Orland Park,
Village of Orland Park,
and the counties of Cook and Will,
County of Cook and Will,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner to the best of my ability.
James? I state your name. Having been appointed to the position of Commissioner for the Village of Orland Park, County of Cook and Will, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner according to the best of my ability. Thank you very much. counties of Cook and Will. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Illinois. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner. For the best of my ability. Thank you very much, sir. Everyone else that we appointed today, they could not make a big deal.
Thank you for serving.
Your name I can handle. Yeah, I can handle your name. Congratulations.
And I want to thank all of you who have volunteered to serve on these commissions. It's a very important aspect of our community, and it's very helpful for our board and for the commissions and for the operation of the village. So we thank you for your service. What's next?
Ready?
Yep.
Village Code Amendment, Title 7, Chapter 4, Retail Liquor Establishments. You have to motion first.
With the motion first.
I'll entertain a motion.
Ordinance number, please.
5203.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Calangelo.
I move to pass ordinance number 5203 entitled an ordinance amending the Title 7, Chapter 4, Section 7-4-28 of the of the Orland Park Village Code regarding prohibited sales or promotions of alcohol beverages.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mayor Peacock?
Jim, go first.
Oh, sorry, I just,
Trustee Dodge.
Thanks. Just as I was thinking about this, broadly, I would not mind seeing if some of the restrictions we've had for a long time, like packaged goods sales and different types of outlets, I think that might be, being considered. So it's not directly related to this, but when it comes to delivery, I get it, right? Which is the last thing you want is someone with a packaged goods license to start delivery because you could have problems. What I'm concerned about is, the Peapods and the Amazons could kind of come in here. So I just kind of want to make sure.
So I have an answer for that. The Peapods and Amazons have statewide licenses.
Right.
That supersede our license. So this does not prevent them from delivering alcohol. So
Right.
Peapod could deliver alcohol right now.
Yeah, so got it. But if, for example, I'm just going to pick on one, Benny's has a pretty good e-commerce business, and they hold a local liquor license, and Amazon just bought Whole Foods to solve their distribution network problem. I don't know exactly how to solve the problem, but I just want to make sure that we kind of, all the nuances in modern digital economy, we factor in here with their liquor license. So somebody running a six-pack of beers with a local delivery order, not a great idea. We got to be careful. And who wants to deliver to 16-year-olds? Not us. But I just want to make sure we think through all the implications of this. That's my point.
So one of the things in this ordinance is it's 12 hours. So if Benny's, for example, takes an e-commerce order, they can still ship out. There's nothing that stops that.
Yeah, it's I hear you. I just not quite there yet. If I think about the self-reported business model from Amazon with Amazon Prime and everybody rushing to technologically get to same-day delivery, these things, we put these things in ordinances and then they tend to stay there for a while and then we don't think through the impact of the local one. So have we thought through how to do all of these things?
We haven't thought through all of those potential possibilities. Trustee Ruzick has brought this up in the past about something in the future. The issue we have right now is there's a loophole that would allow them tomorrow to start delivering, for example, with their pizza, to bring alcohol with them. And that might be something difficult for us to control. No one does it currently, which we also checked to make sure we weren't hurting anyone currently with any business plans they have. But there is the potential for that loophole to currently exist in the ordinance as it was written before this.
Yeah, no, I guess what I'd like to do is I would not mind if we do vote this in tonight, and I don't have a problem because it solves a problem. I just think that there's attendant problems with this that are going to quickly rear up because I think, does Whole Foods, I don't know, does Whole Foods hold a local liquor license for packaged goods sales? Or are they under a statewide license because they're a statewide operator?
I believe they have Local.
They're local. So at some point, I'll make the less than bold prediction, we're going to have a pretty interesting conversation about who holds that liquor license, the local Whole Foods or Amazon, and if they start doing prime deliveries in a short window, we might have to reopen this. So I get we're solving a problem. I think we should keep a close eye on this one.
I agree that potentially we will have to deal with, some of the ramifications of the next hour delivery via e-commerce at some point in the
it's
future.
coming.
But because it is coming, but for right now,
Yep.
we don't have anyone that's doing that that currently holds a liquor license.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
Yeah, just to reiterate, while I don't have a problem with this, especially since apparently our businesses aren't doing this right now, so there isn't this huge demand, but I did say this, this sort of on-demand, the millennial generation expects it. So Binny's in Chicago delivers. So if you're hosting a party, you call an order, and Binny's will deliver it. So I do think it's going to be coming in the future, but I don't have a problem right now, since, like I said, our businesses are not demanding it. Let's see what happens in the future.
And I do share those concerns, and I do think there's a potential for even adding another class of liquor license that allows for delivery, which we tightly
and then-
control. And so that it's not, just getting packaged does not allow you for that. I mean, when that comes up and when someone is interested and we have the appropriate public hearings on it.
Yeah, and then, we'd have to figure out how to put the liability back on that business license holder, that if you got an 18-year-old delivery driver dropping off a bottle of wine, you're wrong. You better send it out with the right delivery driver, but that's on them. The risk accrues to them.
Correct.
So,
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
I was going to say somewhat the same thing. I think it's better to solve the problem now, because my concern is if we only worried about the big boys like Amazon and Binny's, and, then you're going to have an argument from the small mom and pop shops, where if we prohibit it now and someone starts coming to us to ask us to do it, we can always, as a
Open it
group,
up.
figure out the best way to address it that would cover all businesses and let them help us draft that proposed change. Let's solve the problem now. So I'm in agreement.
Mr. Mayor, I
Trustee
think I'm going to
Calandrello.
be the minority here, but I just think this is something that towns, big, small, have, that we don't need to. I mean, if you want to do a special liquor license, maybe, but I don't know if we need to stop this. I think my generation, and not even, all of our
you're
generations.
not even
I
that
think-
young, Dan.
I know I'm not that young anymore, but I've been to towns big and small, rich, poor. They all have this, so I think it's maybe a liquor license issue that we could tighten it up, but I don't think it's a problem that we need to disband it. Heck, this is a great business idea, so if someone out there, if we don't pass it, can do it, because I think there's a huge business for this. So that's why I'm going to be voting no on this.
Any other questions or comments? So my overall comment would be that if we do decide that we want to allow delivery, we should have another class of license that does that and have the appropriate, both the appropriate cost for that license, as well as make sure that the proper insurance, et cetera, which right now this particular code does not have that in here, and it is a loophole that exists. So I would rather see us stop delivery right now, and then we can readdress the issue that you're bringing up, that potentially it's something that people are interested in later.
All right, so I want Mayor Pico, just a quick question. So Dan, did I hear you say you're going to vote no?
I don't think it's an issue that we need to address right now. No one's doing it. We could easily get another class of liquor license within the next month or two, but I don't think anyone's pounding our door for this. And also, liability-wise, if anything did happen, first of all, we could attack the business if, say, they're selling to underage. But second of all, we could definitely, if something, say, a personal injury happened, there'd still be liability on whoever sent him or her out there. So the issues of liability, I don't think, aren't out there. And that's just my, I just don't think this is, I don't think we need to do this today. That's all.
Got it. All right. So then, Mayor Pico, I was happy to vote yes to get it in place, to get something in place. I wouldn't mind if we started pretty soon taking a look at the more complete policy to anticipate what we know is coming.
Are there any other questions or comments on this motion? Okay, so this motion is this question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Calandrello.
Nope.
Trustee Ruzick.
Yes.
Trustee Dodge.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Nay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Nay.
So forceful.
Economic Development Advisory Board, amending Village Code.
I'll entertain a motion to amend the village code for the Economic Development Advisory Board?
Sure.
5204.
Trustee Dodge?
I think I can motion this. Yeah. All right, I move to pass ordinance number 50, you said 5204? 5204, entitled Ordinance Amending Title I, Chapter 13, Orland Park Village Code in regard to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll?
I do know that trustee Gira, who's not here tonight, had some concerns about this, and I had called interim village manager Lamargo, I think it was last week, Wednesday, because I was understanding there was going to be a red line version that was going to be updated to us. I can't remember what her concerns were, and I guess I'm curious as to whether there have been any changes since the last time this was before the board.
So her concerns were about having the board's input, which I think is in here in several places, correct?
Line versions.
Yes, actually, you should have the red line version in your Legistar packet. We provided the red line versions as well as the new clean version, but we did incorporate Trustee Guerra's concerns into this last draft that we prepared. So her, as the mayor indicated, her concern was just in making sure that many of the things that were going to be undertaken by this particular commission, that ultimately the final decisions rest with the Village Board of Trustees.
It's the last
It's
attachment.
the last attachment.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? As you know, I'm the one that helped make this original draft, and largely because the Economic Development Advisory Board was only looking at loans, which is in my opinion, is one small piece of what the Economic Development Advisory Board should be helping us with, and that's what this was amended to do. With that, if there are no more questions and comments, we can. The question is put as read.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Public participation at meetings?
This is only discussion.
It's just discussion. Discussion, anyway.
So we don't need a motion for this. This is just a discussion. And this was talked about before with board policy, and what you'll see a red line version here from the board policy that Joe showed me was discussed previously. But the thought being, with many of our meetings now having significant participation from the public, that we should provide a little bit of guidance to the public as to what's expected for them, both as far as how they behave themselves and address the board, but also some time limits, which I think are reasonable. What's in here is a 3-minute time limit, which I think there's probably only been maybe 2 or 3 commentaries in the last 6 weeks that have exceeded that. Does anybody else have any thoughts?
I'm good.
Okay. Just for the people in the audience, some of the things that were in here were to limit the total speaking time of 30 minutes, and that was taken out, with the thought being that you should be allowed to speak as long as you would like. As far as the entire group, if there's 50 people here to speak, they should be allowed to speak. But to limit each individual's comments to 3 minutes, so that we, in fact, had someone come here that wanted 3 minutes of our time and took 25. So those types of things, so that we can keep the meetings not lasting till midnight every week.
And then just Mayor Pico, if we could. So we haven't changed anything with any pre-scheduled citizens. So if somebody wants to be on that part of the agenda, that process stays in place. This just makes it cleaner, easier.
Correct.
Because that's typically been one of the issues where folks will come up and they'll present the form, but plenty of other folks will want to speak and they don't present the form, and it's tough on the clerk's office to get it accurate as to who was speaking, what the address was. So I like the changes.
And again, this is just policy. It's not at this point, it's not an ordinance or anything else. This is for discussion, but also if you want to see this information, it is online, and you can see exactly what we're talking about doing. So if you have any issues or public commentary, you can certainly email us if you have any thoughts.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
So is this going to, are we going to actually adopt an ordinance incorporating these changes? Is that the plan?
I
Or
think that,
consider-
yes, the plan is to do that.
Okay.
But the idea was to have that discussion tonight first, to see if there's any objections to what's here.
Yep.
Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion to remove the ad hoc committee to review Orland Parks Commission and board structure from the table.
So moved.
Second.
The motion has been to remove the ad hoc committee to review the Orland Parks Commission and board structure has been removed from the table, so now that opens the discussion.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
The only question is, I had been told that this was more so trustee Dodge, who was not present at our last board meeting, could give us his input about this commission, but I also see that the ultimate decision on the commission is the next item on the agenda, so is my initial impression correct, or has that changed?
I believe your initial impression is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Trustee Dodge?
Mayor Pico, my goal tonight was just, this is an idea that I've liked for a while. We've talked about it. Every organization, if they're going to be effective, needs to do the stop, start, continue assessment on themselves. For the Economic Development Loan Commission, there hasn't been much of a need for the loans that was originally established. So the original founding idea was good. Over time, like with a lot of our commissions, we've drifted from the need and the charter for when we did it. So broadly, I like the idea. I know there's a lot of thinking that's going on in this one. I know there's a lot of folks who want to have a topic. So my idea was simply to get it off the table so at a future board meeting we'd talk about it when the full board is here. And I certainly agree that we need to do this. In fact, my intention is to come back to the full board with some other ideas. I would love to see us reestablish a technology committee. We're doing some great work in technology, but there's always other ideas, so we can seek some experts in town. And I'm pretty sure there's some folks out there in Orland Park, in a town of 60,000, that have done some of the, I'll call it process engineering, which is kind of a geeky term, but let's try and figure out how we do things better. I'd like to see if we can have an ad hoc committee on that one as well. So I like the idea. I think we need to gather inputs from a lot of folks, and I think that, wait till Kathy and Pat get back as well. So, good idea.
And what I would say is that the only commission that I had a preconceived notion about was the Economic Development Advisory Board, just because it's so critical to get on top of economic development right away, which is why I addressed that one specifically. But recognizing that one had issues, there's clearly others that some people don't know even exist. And I thought it would be good to have a group look at that. And certainly the board will have input. In fact, I would highly recommend that the committee would talk to all the board members probably at least a couple of times to get their input about what they think from what they see. The reason I didn't say this should be a board exercise is because the board is pretty busy with all the things they look at, and having a couple of board members on it will guide the committee appropriately, but not kill the time of our entire board.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
I just had one comment, and I think one of the other trustees had recommended, and as you've alluded to, Mayor, to get the board input on these commissions or committees, because some of the trustees have been here for a long time and do have the history of some of these commissions. And I think it would be helpful to have it at the outset, so that whatever comments the board had before we start this exercise, I think it would be helpful.
And we could certainly do that beforehand, or as you as the chair could
Sure.
obviously
Sure.
arrange those meetings as
And
well.
I'm not saying they
individually if
have
you
to
want.
formally come forward and say it publicly. I'm just saying if they would make their thoughts known, if they had any, to the village manager or to, whomever's on the commission, that would be great.
Are there any comments? I will entertain a motion to postpone this to a date certain, which would be the next meeting.
So moved.
All right, so do we have a motion? Do we call a motion?
We never took roll call.
We'll call the roll to lift it from the table, then we'll just.
We haven't called roll.
Table it.
Yeah, we called the roll to lift it from the table.
We had a motion, a second.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
I move to postpone the village's consideration of the ad hoc committee to review Orland Parks Commission and board structure until next board meeting.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? The the question to postpone the meeting to the next, to postpone this issue to the next board meeting is now put. Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge. Aye. Trustee Ruzek.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Two people.
Could Bill Lund please come up?
Is that microphone on, Joe?
I live at 8544 West 143rd Place.
Is that microphone
Oops.
on? The mic's on.
I brought up the issue of at the last meeting about the speeding on 43rd Street between LaGrange and Harlem, and the problem with the street behind my house. I want to thank the mayor and the board, and especially Trustee Calandrella for taking care of it right away. There are already things in the works that they're going to work on to cut the speeding, and they're going to bring some engineers behind my house to see what's going on with the street. So thank you. I appreciate it for the quick action. Thank you.
Thanks.
Madeline Flaherty?
About 10 days ago, there was an article in the newspaper on the patch that a lady was held up at gunpoint, another black hoodie, outside of Macy's at 3:15 on a Saturday afternoon. We've had these issues at other stores. It's not just that once. We're seeing more and more of it in the news. It's other stores. Every once in a while you hear it. And my understanding is not everything is being published. Generally speaking, as it was discussed prior to the election, we had different stats come out about our safety and security. Most people that I talk to will say, I don't go into the mall. I go in and out from a store. They particularly do not like to go in and out of now Macy's or Penny's because it's in the back. Most people will say, and it's not just in our community, it's other communities, you invite friends to come out, no, I'd rather go to Bolingbrook, I'd rather go to Oak Brook, I just don't feel safe there. And it's becoming, it is a concern. I moved out here 18 years ago for the safety and the security of a really nice community. I like Orland Park. But it's very disconcerting. You know, we talked last meeting about $350,000 worth of Christmas and holiday decorations, but to what end if we can't get people to come out here to shop at Orland Square, Orland Mall, and some of our other businesses? You know, moving forward from Black Friday, you know, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of cash, a lot of credit cards in their purses and their pockets. You know, what security do we have inside the mall and particularly outside the mall? And you can't, you know, even though many people have concealed carry permits, you can't carry in there. So, you know, how do you safeguard yourself going from the door to your car? You know, people getting in, putting their groceries, I always make sure my purse goes into the car first. But it doesn't stop someone who can still come by as I'm loading my car or my trunk and grabbing my purse. You know, so that's my concern, is what are we going to do about the safety and the security? Cameras, more security out there. And I go back to 3:15 on a Saturday afternoon when the mall should be really hopping, that somebody gets robbed at gunpoint right outside of Macy's. I think that's an issue that I would really like Mr. Calandrella to address with the police department, and I think as a board, I would hope that we can take a look at that, because I don't care what stats people are coming up with. The incidents that are occurring are pretty real, and when you hear people in other communities saying, I don't go there, I don't let my wife shop there, or I don't go unless I go with my girlfriend, we go in groups, that's not a good thing to hear about my neighborhood mall, about the town that I pay big taxes to live in. That's my first concern. So I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I have another issue I'd like to address. I was not here for the last meeting last week for the information on 9750. It's my understanding that we're losing about $9 million on that. I know there was talk at the July 5th meeting that the trustees were interested in representing the constituents. Well, I was at those meetings when we talked about whether or not to build 9750, and it's my recollection that most of the constituents were very, very much against it. I mean, I know all of the surveys said, oh, it's going to be a great investment, but the people in Orland Park were not well represented when that was pushed through, and now all of their concerns have come to fruition. So I would like, moving forward, before we engage in any other project of this magnitude, that once, besides public forum, that we might want to consider putting this on a referendum for the citizens of Orland Park, because let's hope we don't have another issue or another bomb like this one. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
As everyone that sits at this table understands, one of the biggest difficulties we have is combating perception when it doesn't square up with reality. There was an armed robbery in the mall. My understanding is the police department is making headway on its investigation. I'm not going to say anything beyond that at this point because it wouldn't be prudent. But the facts are that our mall is one of the safest in the Chicagoland area, and every study that's out there has said that. It doesn't mean we're not going to ever have crime, and of course, and as you saw tonight, another example of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police and AAA giving our police department an award. I myself am a former Orland Park police officer. We have one of the best police departments in the state of Illinois. There are going to be occasional crimes, and I do know, and Trustee Calandrello can speak to it, there are some amendments to procedure that the mall and the police department are looking at. But where someone saw that we lost $9 million on 9750 does not match up with reality. The actual presentation that was done by Director Mampy, our finance director, which was corroborated by an outside consultant, CPA firm, is that we gained $6.8 million on that deal. So whoever told you that we lost $9 million was absolutely incorrect. That's not the reality, and that's the biggest difficulty we have. The best we do with 100% transparency rating to try and get the message out to the community, it sometimes falls on deaf ears. But that project, luckily, and I wasn't on the board when it was originally approved, luckily was very successful, and as Mayor Peacock said at the last meeting, the time was right to get out, and we took advantage of that time, but it did work out to our benefit, thank God.
Do you want to address some of the issues first, or want me to go first, Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Calandrello?
Sure, thanks. Not to repeat Trustee Carroll, but we do statistically have one of the safest malls in the area. Now, of course, we can do better. We are also 25 minutes from the city of Chicago, and we all know the issues of the city of Chicago. We do have the best police department in the nation, and I know that for a fact. Now, we are doing additional things to help protect our citizens and help protect our investment in our community. And I had a meeting with Chief today, and I believe you did too, Mr. Mayor, today, about the increased security or increased things they're doing, particularly for the outside. Now, of course, I can't tell you all of it because then the bad guys will know what's going on. But I can tell you that it's going to be increased visibility of the police force and also mall security. And I think actually a lot of us are having conversations with Simon themselves about some things, other things, including myself. I'm going to include this because it's an investment in the community. So one thing I do want to highlight is this Christmas season that happened. This Christmas season, yes. And the shopping that happened, we had no major incidents. If you go to Oak Brook, they had a major incident. You go to, I know for a fact Oak Brook did, and I'm almost positive I remember hearing Schaumburg and the other big shopping malls had. Of course, I never wish another mall any bad to happen, but we had no major incidents, including the parking lot. Now, I think that's a huge accomplishment if you think of how many people come in and out, pay taxes, help our residents. I mean, 7 cents of a dollar goes to Orland Park. So how much of the mall gives us to make sure that your taxes are lower? And we haven't raised the taxes in 6 years. But think about that, 7 cents to your dollar that you pay to Cook County August 1st, this comes to us. So roughly, I think I did the math one time, it's like less than $700 for my home. I have a modest home, but still, think about that for all the services we get for Orland Park. But I guess, as I go on my tangent, we have a safe community, Orland Park, the mall is safe. I bring my almost a year old there. My wife shops there. On occasion, we're going to have crime. no matter where you go, you're gonna have crime unless you're a population of 2 and everyone knows each other, so you can't commit crime on each other. So all I can say is we're doing everything we can. We're properly giving them the budget that we can. We're properly training them, winning awards all the time. Bad things happen sometimes. As state's attorney, I see it every day. So I think we hear you. We're doing the best we can, but sometimes things happen. So we're doing everything we can to make sure bad things don't happen around the park, and I think we're doing a pretty good job. Of course, we'll have things here and there, but look at the overall picture. I think we're all lucky to call Orland Park home.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
One thing I wanted to point out is during a meeting that the mayor and I had with Simon last month, I did bring up with them the option to improve safety to offer complimentary valet parking. I think for some of our senior citizens, that may be an added safety factor and may drive some traffic to the mall. Now, I know in busy times that may not be as feasible, but, they said they've offered that in other malls, and, I think when we meet with them again this week, we may bring that up again. Because if you're able to drop off and get picked right up at the door, that's going to eliminate concerns walking through the parking lot, day or night. So we are aware of the concerns that people have, and I think we are constantly looking at ways to encourage increased security by the mall.
Anything else?
I'll make a
Dodge?
very brief comment. I've had this conversation with the chief. I've had it with the other board members individually, and with Mayor Pecaw. I do some things with artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics for a living, and I'm a technology guy. We were having a number of discussions about increasing our investment in cutting-edge technology for the police department to help address some of these very same issues. We obviously are not going to give the list to the press about exactly what we're doing, but it's a work in progress because, as everyone's alluded to, it is a public space, and unfortunately, with the broad-based degradation in American society, we're going to have instances like these. So the best we can do as a municipality is have the best police department, give them the best possible tools to support law enforcement with cameras. You alluded to that. That's one of many technologies. So I want to assure you, I'll look you straight in the eye and tell you it's an ongoing conversation where we're actively looking at everything we can do because we all want to feel safer.
Can you please come up to the microphone?
I would suggest moving forward that that's publicized, because right now, perception is reality, and the perception of many people is that it's not safe at the mall. Now, you can state all the facts that you want. We need cameras, we need all kinds of things.
I will address those issues in just a second.
Okay, but perception is reality, and I'm hoping it doesn't affect us economically.
Okay.
And then in 9750, we need another 3 hours to address the issues that
Well,
people have with
we
that, but
had
let's go
we
back
had a
to
meeting about
security.
9750,
Well,
and we
we'll deal
had
with that
a lot of commentary about it, and it was discussed, and the meeting minutes are going to be redone and put out at the next meeting, and you'll be able to see all those meetings, which is why I specifically asked for all of the public commentary to be put in those minutes. And I think pretty much everything you can think of was asked that night.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Well, first I would like to, before you comment, I would like to address the comments that were made. So there were two comments made. One was made about 9750. And so Mrs. Flaherty and Trustee Carroll are both correct, depending on how you look at the project. So if you look at the project from a pure real estate investment perspective, Mrs. Flaherty is correct. There was a $9 million loss. However, the trustees, when they voted for that particular project, they included, as part of their rationale, was to include tax incentives, or excuse me, the TIF, the TIF money that they would receive. The TIF money that is received is a little over $16 million, which is basically what results in the $6.8 million. So the village looked at it, and the people who voted for this back in 2012 looked at it in a not purely, not the way someone who was coming in just to invest in a property and then looking to leave. They were looking to try and spur investment in the property and start to collect tax money, which is something that the village can do, which a typical real estate person cannot. So in that regard, those numbers are okay. Regarding the mall safety and security, we fully understand that perception is reality. I had that exact conversation with the chief today. The chief is well aware of the issues, and the police force, I can tell you, is modifying strategies to address some of the issues that have recently happened. Simon is doing a lot of things that we can't talk about at the present time, and not because they're all that secret, but it's really up to Simon to give us the permission to release that. It's not up to us, some of the actions that they're taking. So there has been multiple conversations with Simon just in the last week, and then also in the last months. As Trustee Ruzick said, we met with them a month ago, and there's actually meetings this week with them as well, and I'm sure these issues will come up. So we are well aware. I will tell you that to Trustee Calandrella's point, if you look at the crime statistics in Orland Park versus Bolingbrook, there's 4 times as many incidents in Bolingbrook as here. So a lot of the issue is perception. And Trustee Calandrella is also right. Sometimes we can't stop everything, but we need to address the perception issue. We're aware of it because that will only help us. And the more that we get people coming to the mall that are there to shop, the people who are there to not shop and to bother them are going to go away. So it's very much a presence thing. So we're aware of that. The police are aware of it. And have done a really good job. And Simon is also aware of it, and it's a huge issue for them. So it's not something that we don't talk about on a regular basis. Unfortunately, we had an incident last week, but we really can't talk about everything around that because, as Trustee Carroll pointed out, there is an ongoing investigation. And please state your name and address when you come up.
My name is Susan Stratton. I live in Pondview Estates, which is in back of Rock Bottom. My address is 16141 Hillcrest Circle. I've lived in Orland Park for over 30 years, but I've recently moved a year and a half ago to a condominium, and I don't feel safe there. The last year, 3 houses have been robbed, and this past month, my 2 daughters who were visiting me, their cars were robbed. I don't feel safe going to the mall. When my husband was living, he used to wait for me in the mall. He'd drive me, and he'd have a police scanner because he used to be a volunteer fireman, and anybody can have a police scanner. And this was probably 5-10 years ago, and I was in Carson's, and there was a bomb scare. I mean, even if it was just a scare, it's eventually going to happen. Eventually, there is going to be not only a gun, a robbery, but somebody's going to be murdered up there. I don't feel safe in Orland Park anymore, and this is happening within my little block. The 3 houses were robbed, and since I don't go to the mall anymore, and this other lady says she doesn't feel safe going to the mall, and everybody knows that malls are kind of a thing of the past. You hear about this. It's going to be strip malls, not big buildings. So I don't understand why we're spending all this money on holiday lights, which are really Christmas lights. As long as I've been there, they're Christmas lights. And I'm not offended by any other religion with whatever they want to have up there. If we want to have equal rights, let have all the religions have stuff up, but don't take away my Christianity. I think it's kind of foolish to have holiday lights. If we're not going to have Christmas lights, let's not spend money foolishly on holiday lights that are going to attract people to the mall, and eventually maybe this is the Christmas that it's going to happen. Somebody's going to get murdered there. But I pray to God not to, but it's coming. My husband said it's coming. But it's kind of silly, I think, to spend money. And then we're taking out a loan for something. I don't understand that. Do we have the cash to pay for holiday lights? Do we have the cash? Don't you usually, as a homeowner, you save up for a new roof? You save up maybe for new landscaping, but we're borrowing money? I don't understand it. But the thing is that I'm up here for is I don't feel safe in Orland Park, and I'm really sorry because my kids live in the community. They live in Worth, and I'm not going to move anywhere. I'm staying where I am. I'd like to go to Las Cruces, New Mexico, where taxes are a lot cheaper. And yes, it's on the Mexican border, but it's safer there. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Well, and
safer to find how.
I really appreciate the comments, and one of the things I would like to add that I didn't say earlier, so Orland Park is a very safe community when you look at other communities, and I completely understand that there are incidents. I've had incidents at my own home in the past. and the police are aware of it. And I'm sure Trustee Calandrello will get your address, and we will make sure that we pass this on to the chief. If there's been 3 incidents, we'll make sure that they're looking in your neighborhood. But one of the issues that we have, and this is something to take up beyond this board, it's something to take up with your Cook County reps, is the Cook County State's Attorney has declined to prosecute certain crimes, and have, for example, lifted the limits of felony theft from $300 to $1,000. So Will County, it's still at $300. Well, guess what? When you can steal 3 times as much money by coming right across the border, what do you think the criminals do? They come across the border because they are only subject to a misdemeanor if they get caught stealing $999 worth of goods instead of $300. So part of the issue that we have is how the Cook County State's Attorney has decided to address these issues. And we live in Cook County and not Will County, so that's part of and so those people that come here for that, knowing that they can get away with more here than they can in Will County, that's what they're going to do, and we're just, one step away from Will County. So that's part of the issue that our police force faces as well, and they do a really good job of addressing those issues. And crime stats do fluctuate a little bit, but overall, I saw the half-year stats today, and they look really good compared to last year on an overall basis. Are there any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
Just to kind of follow up on what I was talking about earlier after your comments, I am very cautious when people talk about feelings of safety in the mall or in their neighborhood, because I can't tell people how they should feel. That's individual. I can only talk about what the statistics show, which is how our village compares to other villages that have retail centers as strong as ours, but it doesn't change the fact that someone may not feel safe. And that's the perception reality thing that you, Mr. Mayor, talked about, and Trustee Calandrello and the chief have talked about. But I do take exception to encouraging alternative facts when we're talking about numbers. As a governmental unit, we operate within a certain framework of accounting controls. Those controls are audited annually, and in the instance of 9750, not only did our finance department and our finance director look over those numbers, but we had an outside firm look at them. So to say that both myself and the $9 million loss person is correct is just disingenuous. The village's development of that property spurned the TIF, which spurned the incentive or the increment that's coming in. And that's been reviewed by outside sources and has been affirmed. So the reality, as not just us saying it, not just our director saying it, but an outside independent consulting firm with a whole horde of CPAs, is that the increment financing that was applied to the project because of the action the board took long before I was on it led to a $6.8 million profit on that property. That's the reality. Nothing further.
Are there any other comments from the board? Ma'am, would you like to come back up?
I forgot to mention, because of this, I now have ADT. I feel that I have to take care of myself. I got my nose out of joint with my homeowners association because the first thing on the ADT thing is says cut your bushes down. So I cut my bushes down. So my neighbor on the other side doesn't speak to me anymore. But I am going to take care of myself and my family and my friends that come over and visit me. So I have ADT, and I had no idea how much it costs. It's not just a monthly. It's mucho bucks to pay for the equipment and stuff like that. So I am going to tell the board, or ask the board, please be proactive this Christmas at the mall. I mean, have lots of cameras. Tell Simon that we're not going to shop there unless if they get cameras. That's their responsibility. That's not our responsibility. That's their property. But we need to be proactive with them instead of reactive when something happens and shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, I'm maybe a negative person, but I think in the long run, I'm a happy person because I've taken care of things before they happen, and I can say, thank God I took care of things. So, thanks.
Thank you. Again, I do think we were trying to be proactive. A lot of the stuff that we're doing, we cannot talk about, and partially because we have an ongoing investigation, partially because it's it's Simon's property, it's up for them to discuss. And that's going to be part of what we discussed this week when we're meeting with them. I think 5 of the trustees and myself are meeting with them at various times. Anything else to add? Any comments from the board?
No comments.
Yeah, board comments.
Board
comments.
Yeah, all right. So just shifting gears from this conversation, I just got back from a long driving vacation out west, and we largely followed as much of Route 66 as we can. And if you ever needed an object lesson of how you need to pay attention to changing economic climates and changing technologies, look at some of the now ghost towns on Route 66, starting in Winona, Arizona, back to Chicago. So with all the things we're talking about here, I think it's important for all of us to recognize just how everything going on in the world of digitization is changing everything in American life. And that's kind of a constant battle we've been working on. So just put it out there as a comment that, yeah, it does matter. So when a new technology comes along, a better engineered high-speed roadway, it killed a lot of great American towns that are now just empty vestiges of what they used to be. So deeply sensitive to us getting it right going forward. Just commentary.
No comments,
Anyone
Mr. Mayor.
else?
No comments.
Appreciate everyone coming out. No comments.
And I have no comments other than what I already made, except for when you're in a corner in Winslow, Arizona.
Well, I'll send you the picture. I was, yeah, right next to Glenn Fry's statue. It's kind of fun.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
Enter an executive session for A, approval of minutes, B, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performances, or dismissal of specific village employees, and C, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the village.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Do I need to call? I don't think so.
Ken, do you need a roll call for that? Do you need a roll call for that or no? Yes, you need a roll call.
Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Sure. Okay, no problem.